What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Bit Unraveled comedy podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Hansinger, and let's get into it. Welcome back to another week of A Bit Unraveled. I'm very excited to introduce this guest to you. He is a fantastic comedian, a content creator, a podcaster, and a very good friend of mine. Welcome to the show, Jacob Givens.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Hansinger.
Hey, good to see you, man.
It is really great to see you. It has been a long time since we got a chance to especially see each other in person.
I know, especially in person, yeah.
Yeah. I want to say it was even before it was your farewell party leaving Los Angeles. I think that's the last time I got a chance to see you. Oh my gosh.
So, coming up on 3 years.
Yeah, I know.
Too long.
That's too long.
That's my fault.
It's mine too. Life gets in the way.
I drove east. That's on me.
You did. How long were you gone? How long were you in Georgia?
We were in Georgia, in Atlanta for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, like almost exactly 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's funny because it felt like 2 years to us, but then we got back and people were like, "Oh, I didn't realize you were gone."
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It's just like it's different. I think you notice it more than other people, I guess.
Time does move differently because if you were to tell me to guess how long you were gone, I would have said, "Oh, maybe under a year." That's how it felt. It felt like you guys moved away. I kept up with posts and what you were up to and seeing that kind of stuff. But it really, time moved at a different, level. It just seemed like, they just left and now they're coming back. So It's crazy that it was 2 years.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, it's good for us too, coming back and having that be the way that people feel about it.
Right.
That we hadn't left that long,
Yeah.
So it was good.
And what a year to come back.
What a year. I mean, we got back in February, like mid-February.
Of course,
some time to get locked down.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was great timing.
Yeah. Do you think so? Funny enough, do you think that you're grateful that you were in LA for the lockdown, or do you kind of wish that you guys had still been in that location for this time period? Was there like a, hindsight kind of situation?
There's, there's pros and cons to both. I'll say it would have been nice to be there. The rent was a little bit cheaper. That's nice.
For sure.
It was driving distance to family. So I would have been able to go and visit family just by driving up the 95.
Yeah.
So that would have been cool because I haven't seen any family outside of my brother lives out here. So I've seen him.
Yeah.
So then that's the flip side too, is that, I get to be out here with my brother and he's not by himself stuck out through this. It's nice being back in LA. I definitely like this apartment better than my last apartment.
Yeah.
Just the physical space is nicer to be stuck in.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons, and it's also nice. It's nice being back in LA for the Dodgers win, for the Lakers win.
There you go.
And then it's also nice to be back here for, through some of the tough times. Because, if this is, I consider this more of my long-term home. And, it's nice to celebrate the good times, but it's also nice to go through some of the tough times and be part of that community that, dealt with that stuff. So
yeah, for sure. Well, it's awesome to have you back for sure. It's good to see your face.
Yeah.
You look so polished. You look so clean and handsome. You don't look like somebody who's been living under a rock for 9 months like most of us do.
I appreciate it. I'm trying my best. I'm trying
your best. Okay.
I haven't had to do a self haircut recently, so that helps.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you do that at all? Did you have to do a self haircut during quarantine?
I let it grow really, really shaggy, and I got pretty full. And then right when the lockdown stuff started to lighten up a little bit, that period of time in the summertime where it was like, okay, we can go and do businesses as long as it's distance and safe. I had been going to the same stylist for years, and she had a great setup, and I went in and I got my hair cut there, but I was like the only person in the room, and it was masks and it was safe and whatnot. But since that time, which was sometime over the summer, I haven't gone back yet, but I'll probably just get a pair of clippers out or something at some point if I can't go get a haircut soon. But
yeah, you have a hairstyle that I feel like you could get away with doing some snips on your own.
I do have, over the years, if you were to take like a flip book of my hairstyles, I go from everything from, long hair to short hair. So I've been fortunate enough as a man my age who has a full luscious head of hair. Luscious, and I can do all sorts of fun, silly things. That was I didn't get good vision. So it was the exchange. It's like some people can see really well. I can't see anything. I'm wearing contacts and glasses, but I do have the good hair. So
yeah, hey, it's worth a lot.
And so do you. So do you. You got like, I could surf that wave on your head. Right?
Try it. I want to see it happen.
I will.
That's awesome. Does your wife cut your hair at all? Is she gotten into that?
She is actually pretty good. She cuts both the boys' hair. And she's gotten, like, she'd always kind of done it from time to time when we, every few years we'd absolutely schedule them for like a legitimate haircut before all this.
Yeah.
And then, but every now and then it would be like it would sneak up on you, it would be picture day and we'd be like, shoot. And she would do a great job of it. But then on this time, she's cut their hair the whole time and she's gotten to be really, really good at it. Like, she knows how to do their hair, but she doesn't have to mess with mine, like I would probably let her cause I do think she's good enough, but
yeah,
she doesn't.
I've gotten Ashley. So I did one home haircut before, like when things were shut down. And then I was getting to the point, I was like, I can't stand it.
Can't stand it. Yeah.
I bought trimmers. I shaved the sides on my own and I couldn't do the top. But I was like, Ashley, you have to do the back side. Like you have to do it on the bottom. And she was like so nervous. She's like, I'm going to screw up your hair and you're never going to let me forget it. And she did good though. She did fine. And
it is nerve wracking.
Yeah.
It is.
And then I was probably due in right before they shut down. And I was like, so who knows what I'll look like on the other side.
I know for sure. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah. But I see you've been actually able to get out a little bit, it seems like, and enjoy some life during quarantine. I feel like you went camping and stuff like that, or
we we're pretty outdoorsy folk, and we planned some good trips over the being campers and people that like to do the great outdoors. That's like an ideal thing to do on something like this because you're not surrounded by anybody. You can go with your own family. You can be in nature and not really interact with anybody. So that was good. And then we had this little visit up into Tahoe, which I'd never been to before. So we did do that up there and it wasn't as crazy as everybody, so I know there's a lot of opinions on whether or not to travel and how people feel about that. I definitely didn't want to get on a plane, but when you can drive a couple hours, it wasn't that bad. We were in this small town outside of Tahoe called Truckee and it was beautiful. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. And I was really relieved to see that everybody in that city, at least in Truckee, took everything very seriously. Again, this was in the middle of the summer when it seemed like the end was almost here.
Right.
And
little did we know.
And I mean, it wasn't, we weren't being, even on our trip up there, it was crazy because if you stopped at like a gas station, it was crazy to see how much in California from city to city, like a lot of California are people that aren't out wearing masks and did not care. And it was like, wow, we really do sometimes live in these bubbles where you think that we're all on the same page. And then you just drive a couple miles outside of the city and you're like, oh, okay. Oh, so you guys don't want to do this at all. And so it was an interesting thing to go on that journey. But then once we were in Truckee, everybody in that town, there were the signs up, they had the guards, everybody was wearing masks, everybody was walking around in a very distant, like respectful way. So it was a positive. I
don't know why, but when you said guards, I was thinking like machine guns, like put your mask on.
Everybody, it was a militarized zone.
This is intense.
Outside of Tahoe.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. It was the thankfully not that kind of guard.
Right. I got it now, but that was my initial. I was like, wow, Tahoe.
Tahoe's intense.
Wow, Truckee.
Right. Truckee does sound like the kind of town though that would have Like, that's the funny thing about Truckee is you hear it, you're like, we're going to go on up to Truckee. You would absolutely assume that that would be a place where people are open carry. But
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, it's the opposite. So,
Right. Yeah. No, it's awesome.
yeah.
I feel like even within my own like apartment complex and stuff, it's mixed. You
Yeah.
know, I always wear it. You know, I
Yeah.
respect people around. You never know who's going to be more cautious and all this. And I don't know. I
Yeah.
just think it's not even always about me. It's about, you know,
Yeah. It's just being respectful for sure.
I got yelled at one recently. There was some guy walking in who's just like, "You don't need to wear that, man." And I was like, "Okay, well,
Okay,
I'm
buddy.
just walking my dog."
All right.
And if I don't wear it, I'm going to get funny looks. If I do wear it, I'm going to get yelled at. There's no.
You
Yeah.
can't win. You
Nope.
can't win. Yeah, we err on the side of safety and mask wearing for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah.
No, this is an interesting thing because you have two kids, you have two boys.
Yeah.
But now the vaccinations are coming up. Now it's always an interesting idea. Everybody's on different sides of it, you know, whether or not you want to get it or not. But then it also brings up the whole giving it to kids again too. And I know that is a concern for people. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's funny that you ask because I am not one of these people who's like, oh, I'm never going to take the vaccine. I am totally, if the science and research is there and they say that this is what is a great idea to keep everybody safe and to end this thing, then I am all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely want to see like, how is it working for people?
Yeah.
And I would want some measured results.
I don't want to be first in line.
I don't want to be first in line,
Yeah.
especially I don't want to be like, here's my 6-year-old. Shoot him full of it.
Right.
Let's just see where we go with it. You know,
roll the dice.
Yeah, I'll be cautious, of course, but
I do kind of laugh because there was like some big figures are like getting it like on camera, and we're like, but is it not water? Like, how do we know?
Right,
like,
right. It's true.
Who knows?
Everything has to be filmed and recorded and shared, right? That's just how it goes in the game of celebrity.
Yep. But that's cool though that you've been able to like get out and live a little bit.
Yeah.
We're not the campers here, so we'd be the glampers, I guess.
Yeah.
So we definitely haven't done as much, but I envy those who are like, you know, outdoorsy like that.
Well, I don't know if you've ever lived, or if you've ever been up to where for the past 8 years, I lived in a small town called Montrose, which is like up on Angeles Crest, and it was, up by Descanso. Have you ever been up that way before?
Yeah, we came to visit you.
You did.
We went to a concert.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Concert with you. I was on your back singing Journey. No, I'm kidding.
I forgot.
No, I know. It's been at least 3 years. No.
It's been a while. So Music in the Park, you came up that way.
But yeah, we've been up there a couple times.
Yeah, when you live up there, you're right off the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that you do is you just very quickly start going, okay, well, 20-30 minute drive up Angeles Crest, and we're in some hiking trails. And so that kind of opened the door that even, when my oldest son was really, really young, we just very early on, we're like, this is a fun and inexpensive way to go on an adventure.
Yeah.
You get a tent, you get a fire, and it became something that we regularly did to go up to these trails and whatnot. So that was a saving grace of it all. But we did move to a new place. We're now in Sunland, and it was because of the coronavirus lockdown, because we were losing our minds in the apartment building that we were living in, because it was just, there were 4 of us, and my boys are getting bigger and they eat all the time, and we would go for walks and go down to a park and walk around. But after so many months of it, we found ourselves like browsing cities online that we could move to. We were like, I don't know if I can handle this anymore, because you just are looking at those 4 walls and you're like, I got to get out of here. But right at the end of August, we just fell into this situation where we knew somebody who knew somebody, and they were like, we're trying to rent our house, and it had a yard, and it wasn't going to be that much more. And so this whole saga of 2020, I feel like there was the upfront part, which was like really, really, really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as we got into this place that we're living now, I feel like I could never go out in public ever again, and I'll be fine. I'll be just fine. I feel like I could just be holed up here, and I'm totally okay.
That's awesome. That's great.
Good.
That's cool.
Good. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I do want to turn things a little bit, because I want to talk about your your podcast,
Seriously.
which
Yeah.
I'm super excited about. I've listened to a few of them now. The
Yay.
best
Thanks,
jingle
Ryan.
in town, guys.
I wrote it.
Ashley was saying, she was like, Jacob always has the best jingles.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley. Appreciate it.
But I love it. What is it? It's a
Biofriendly
podcast.
It's the Biofriendly
Podcast.
Yeah.
And that's the name of it for everybody. The Biofriendly Podcast. It's a great podcast.
Thank you.
I love you and the other hosts that you do.
Yeah,
Noel, yes.
Yeah.
Cool. What inspired that, and like what got you going with that?
My life trajectory took a dramatic turn in early 2019. Before all this year, I did a complete change in kind of career path and trajectory. I'd been at NBC Universal for 12 years. I'd been there for a very, very long time. And I loved it there. It was a great job and I enjoyed going in, but it was also one of those places where I'd kind of hit a wall as to what I could do. It didn't really seem like I could transition over into the creative realms like I wanted. I was in the technical side of things. And, it's funny, like my parents, my Midwestern, middle of the country parents were just like, can't you just go to the movie department and knock on the door and be like, I've got a script, like they don't
slide
understand
it under the door.
Yeah, they don't understand that it's like Gattaca. And you're like mopping the floor, looking through the window at the shuttle launching. And you're like, yeah, I'm never going to be able to get over there. And no matter that I was there for 12 years, I would meet people over time that were like, hey, well, I might be able to get you a meeting with da-da-da-da. And I mean, it just never went anywhere. Just never. Right. If you don't get into this creative world at the ground floor, like getting coffee, they're never going to let you go over there.
Yeah.
So I had worked with Noel Carroll, who's the co-host with me, but also he is part of his family business, which is in this environmental company called Biofriendly. And Biofriendly had been in the business of reducing fuel emissions that had been kind of where they had been over the past 20 years once he got the business. But he had this vision. He was like, we really need to like take green thinking and start educating people about it. We need to start making it fun because like the green and eco community is a lot of like judgmental, browbeating. It's a lot of shaming. It's a lot of, why aren't you doing more? You need to be doing this. It's just a lot of bummers. And it really is. It's kind of shocking how much it is. And so he came to me and he said, I'd love to bring you on the Biofriendly team. I'd love to hire you. I know you'd have to leave that job, but I think we could make it work. So he brought me on. And one of the first things we thought about, we were like, let's do a podcast. Let's make this thing. And it's funny because you're starting yours and we going into it had an idea what it was. But I think that once a podcast kind of goes for a couple episodes, it starts to congeal. And it starts to have like this energy and this vibe. And then you go, oh, this is what the show is.
Yeah.
And we knew we would be going in and being like, okay, this week we're going to be talking about this environmental topic, or we're going to be addressing something that, whether it's the banning of plastic straws or the use of reusable coffee cups, or, what are people innovating in terms of solar technology and wind technology. And we're like, we're going to address these things, but we're also going to just have fun.
Yeah.
And laugh and embrace tangents and go down rabbit holes of whatever could possibly happen. And in doing that, the show became a place where two guys hang out, talk about green subjects, educate, but we kind of do it in a sneaky way because people who listen to the show will come back to us and they'll be like, what's so crazy? I was talking to some friends and they were asking me about such and such. And I all of a sudden started to know how composting works. And I was like, where did I learn that? And they realized they got it from our show, but we did it in a way that felt kind of, silly, fun, and playful. And they retained, information and knowledge in that space, but it was in a fun and playful way. So that's the heart of the Biofriendly Podcast.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And you're right. You do kind of like sneak it in a little bit.
We do.
I listened to the straws one recently.
Yeah.
And joking on Roost Chris and everything with it. And, but yeah, it's a good time.
Thank
Um,
you.
it's interesting to hear that there's that some of the people who are harder about it are actually the people in support of the eco-friendly stuff.
Yeah.
When you were saying that, I was thinking it was the anti
No, it's
environmental people that were pushing, but it is funny that it is coming from the other side also of like, you're not doing enough. You got to.
exactly. And you're right that it's from both sides. I mean, you have the deniers that say like, no, the climate is totally fine and nothing's changing at all. And you go like, you're crazy. But then you have the other side, which is, so what comes with it is we as comedians know that what gets ripped on a lot, you get CrossFitters, vegans. These are the people that are often very outgoing and loud about what they believe in. And so in veganism and in environmentalism, you have people who have zero waste lifestyles, and they've committed to it on such an extreme level that they're very disappointed in any form of waste or any kind of like meat consumption or any kind of waste.
What and you get bottled water for when you can siphon your poop 3 times?
Exactly. Like that's their perspective. And you realize, you go, the result of that is I admire your passion, and by all means keep fighting the fight. But the problem with that is you have millions upon millions of people in this country specifically that the moment somebody yells at them, they put this finger in this ear and this finger in this ear, and they go, la, 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 I can't hear a word you're saying. So we realize there's a missed opportunity. There's a lot of people out there that are, you know, families, and they've got kids in minivans, and they're like, I can't buy a Tesla right now. Are you kidding me? And or I need bottled waters when the kids, you know, are out and playing and blah, blah, blah. And so they feel like the whole mountain to climb is just impossible. Like there's no way I could ever be green. And so we were like, okay, well, we need to find a way to reach them and tell them that, like, even if they changed one aspect of behavior, then it would make a huge difference. And if you do that on millions and millions of people, then you're going to change the world.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah, it's funny. Is there anything in particular that you're super passionate about with environmental stuff? Is there like, obviously a lot of it interests you, or you on the podcast, but is there like one thing that jumps out more than others?
I think that it did really change my mindset about meat. I have not become a vegetarian or anything, but my meat consumption went like 80% down. And I, you know, like the concept of a meatless Monday, just that amount of it, you know, but I still enjoy it. You know, it's 4th of July, I'm having burgers, you know, it's a weekend, you're ordering a pepperoni pizza. These are things that I still love to do. But on the whole, I tried to transition the way I was thinking about food in general, and just trying to eat a little bit healthier. So that was a big thing. And then energy fascinates me. The idea of where we're going with energy, because electric cars feels like to everybody that's the solve, that's the fix. And then the further you dig in, you go, it's got its own set of problems. While it helps us a lot, we have the problem of the battery creation, and we have a problem with what are we going to do once these cars are done. And so it's just an interesting thing. I love always looking for who's developing that next new exciting thing that we haven't even thought about before. You know, that stuff blows my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that both those are all definitely like high on my list. We've gone in and out of being vegan a couple times.
I remember that you shared some stuff you know, online. I remember following kind of the journey that you guys went through, because you felt moved to do it. And then
it was a lot of it was environmental and health reasons and things like that. And then you know, finds out it's harder than it is sometimes. There's also it's hard to get all of your supplements and vitamins and everything. So you know, we bailed and ate a full bag of ham. But
I get it.
But we still, you know, we are more balanced, like you said, you know, and I like that idea of like meatless Monday or something like that. Unless it's Monday Night Football and then pizza and wings.
Then pizza and wings, and then you just do it anyway. No, Tuesday. Of course.
Then no turkey Tuesday.
And then
we'll just do no turkey.
Right.
But the other, I mean, and then energy is always fascinating to me. I like the solar energy is always fascinating to see where that goes in the direction of that. To me, I'm like, why are we not doing solar energy and then powering our electric vehicles off
with
of
solar
the sun and driving those around, and nobody's, I don't know.
They haven't been able to figure out what's, I can answer it for you in the fastest way, non-boring way possible. They haven't been able to figure out a way to make the solar cell be able to capture enough energy to power the car. Like it has to charge over a period of time, but it would deplete too quickly. So somebody needs to come up with a solar cell that can do like what a giant roof would do, but like on a cell that big. As soon as we can get there, problem solved.
So two things. There's I was thinking that if you solar power your house, you can solar power your car from your house. I don't know if that's a thing or not. The other thing is that I saw when I was in Georgia, I saw a prototype that Georgia Tech was developing that was all solar power and just driving around for test runs.
Really?
Yeah. So
it's on the horizon.
People are working on it.
They are.
Cool.
And that's what's inspiring. So that's what's so uplifting is that people really are working on it. We can sit here forever and go, well, such and such company is ruining the planet with their plastics and all that stuff. But there's a lot of really uplifting, inspiring stories of ways that people are trying to fix things too.
Totally. I think I have a video in here, and I spent like 20 minutes of dead space just flipping through my phone.
Just totally. I think I have a video. 1 second. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
You're going to love it.
Okay. Right? Turns out I don't. Sorry about that. We'll edit that. No.
We'll edit that in later.
But yeah, it's always fascinating. I'm fascinated by science and like where that stuff is going next.
Me too.
But yeah, and the straw thing's always, that was a fun argument for people when that happened in LA.
Yeah. The banning of the straw.
People loved their straws.
Yeah.
And then I remember getting like one of the fold up plastic straws thinking like, oh, we'll carry this around with us.
And you're not going to do
never
that.
Left the house.
Never left the house.
I just went sans straw.
Yeah, you just gotta, and there's people that, and the funny thing was, when that was happening, people were like, we're not, California's never gonna have straws, but you realize, you were like, it was just the fancy restaurants. It was just like the sit down places, like the fast food places are still gonna have their straws. They're not going anywhere, but honestly, it was about changing your mindset, and if you can go without it, then go without it, and then you're making a difference, right? Every time you don't grab one, you're making a difference. So,
yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Well, cool. There's also, we'll switch gears a little bit again.
I love all the gear switching on the show. Switching gears with Ryan Hansinger.
I got so much I want to talk to you about.
I know, because it's been 3 years.
It's been a while. But also, like, one of the reasons I wanted you on this time, and I wish it was a little earlier, is because, this time of year, House Harker,
your
movie always comes back around.
Yes, it does.
The full name is, it was, I want to say a jolly good time. It wasn't a jolly good time.
That would be the holiday special if we ever got one.
Can you do
a jolly
good time?
Oh, that would be.
I had a bloody good time at House Harker.
I had a bloody good time at House Harker.
Which is available on Amazon now.
It is. It's available on Amazon, Tubi, Vudu, Roku. It's on pretty much every streaming platform you can think of. And actually, I think there's a version of it on YouTube, to tell you the truth. So.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So everywhere. It's everywhere.
Awesome. When you say a version of it, you make it sound like it's like a Swedish dub.
It's a Swedish dub. No, it's funny because we just recently got under this new distribution thing, and one of the things that they did is they put the movie on YouTube, and we found it, and we were like, wait, is this another pirated copy? Is this another bootleg copy? Because that happens all the time. You get the occasional ones, and then they get pulled. But no, they put it up, and we were like, why? And they're like, YouTube is as viable a market as any streaming service out there. It has ads and people click on it, and so why not? And we're like, that's fair. So
totally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So for those who don't know about the movie, shame on you.
Right. Shame on you. It's a beloved horror classic.
Yes. But it's a perfect Halloween movie. I wish I had this going earlier, so
that's okay. It's okay. They can listen to this episode next year.
Yeah. Or just if you watch it to Mariah Carey's "Merry Christmas,"
I think so.
it
I think
syncs
so.
up perfectly.
It does. It's like Dark Side of the Moon. If you start Michael Bublé's Christmas album on the opening minute, then it syncs up perfectly.
Syncs up perfect.
The blood splatter. It's perfect.
But no, it's a fantastic cult Halloween horror film.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got a chance to come to one of the premieres here in LA, right? You and Ashley were there.
Up in NoHo Arts, and it was awesome, and it was wonderful, and there's times when you go support a friend and you never know what you're walking into.
Oh, I know.
And we were beyond pleased and excited walking out.
Good.
Because you never know. This happens in LA all the time where they're like, we got this screening of a thing. We've got this off Broadway play. And you're like, I'm going to go see it. And then, I'm going to support my friend. And I had high hopes. I've seen other work of yours. I didn't go in with that, but you just never know. And
you honestly never know.
This is solid. It's a really awesome horror movie. So
thanks, man.
I know I have other friends and listeners that are into that horror movies and stuff like that. So definitely
check that out. Yeah, if it's on, if you have Prime, it's free. So like if you're an Amazon Prime member, you don't even have to rent or buy it. It just streams for free if you have Prime. And it is a long title, so if you need help finding it, all you have to type in is House Harker. That's all you really need in order to track it down.
But no, tell us a little bit about like the making of that and stuff, like because now you wrote that, correct?
I did. The story was we all, the group of us, the team, came up with the story together, but then it was my job to go and write the script. And you know what's funny is, Ryan, we've known each other. I met you in 2012, I think that's
I remember the day.
Yeah.
I was wearing this shirt or something similar.
He's got it on a calendar with a heart. This is when I met Jacob. Well, I remember in the early days, we were always at Mike's together, and you were one of the first people that I befriended, and we went and did. We went to
John Lovitz.
Yeah. Remember, we went to John Lovitz, and we were like, there were like these times where we would just be hanging out for hours and hours to get up and do mic time.
Yeah.
And what made me think of it was I remember the process of I'm writing the movie, we're trying to raise money to go shoot the movie, I'm about to go leave to go make the movie, and I knew you through all of it, so I would like see you, and I would be like, well, I'm about to leave for this, and you'd be like, hey, good luck, have a great time,
Yeah.
And so it's wild that I've known you through that whole process. But it was basically, we had made web series. We had done Good Cops, which was this silly thing that then went on to Machinima, which doesn't exist anymore. Machinima, no, it's gone.
I was going to ask you about that because that was such a big deal at a time. Okay.
It was a big deal. So Machinima was that big video game.
How is it gone?
Well, Warner Brothers came in and bought the whole business.
Oh,
and
man. And that company was massive.
I know, they were massive. They came in,
which is why it got bought out. Okay.
Yeah, they absorbed it, and they kept like a small kind of a skeleton crew on the Machinima team, and they were planning on like keeping it going. And then I don't know what happened on behind the lines of Warner Brothers, but somebody just was like, yeah, you know what? Never mind, and just pulled the plug, and all the content gone. Like our entire season 2 of Good Cops. Gone, like all the views, all the comments, everything. And there were millions of videos that were out there that just disappeared. And so we just recently, over the past few years, had gotten the ability to re-release Good Cop season 2, and then we had that Western that we did, Tumbleweed. So we had done these web series, and we were like, we could easily make another web series. We were the snowball had happened, and there were people that were interested and excited, but we were also going like, but at some point in time, we need to move on to a bigger arena. We need to like bite the bullet and just go for like the movie. And so we were able to raise enough money to at least get the first part of it done, and to go and shoot about 60% of it. And we shot in the middle of the United States. We shot in Wisconsin. And we were like way up by the Upper Peninsula up there, because one of our stars, main star of the film, Derek, and he helped produce the film also, his whole family was from there. And he was like, hey, if we filmed in my hometown, we would have help from family to help feed us. We'd have places to stay. And because it's such a small town, you know, they're not going to be Hollywood about it. They're going to let us get the shots that we need. So we went out there, shot it, and it's just it was a unreal experience in my life. It was really challenging to finish it all up. You know, we did a Kickstarter to do the post, and then once we were done with it, it was like then we spent this year trying to promote and get into film festivals and travel the world trying to get people to get eyes on it. So it's amazing because making a feature film is literally like 3 to 4 years of your life, no matter how you do it, you know.
Yeah.
So it just takes a long time.
Now, this was the same group then from Good Cops and Tumbleweed that moved on to the movie. That's awesome.
It was the same team, and so we had all. What was cool, it was like we'd been in the trenches together making things guerrilla, kind of off the cuff, no money, and it was, you know, it's Clayton Cogswell as our director, and then it was me as the writer and actor, and then we had Noel Carroll, who's my co-host from Biofriendly, and then he's Charlie. He's Charlie in House Harker.
Yeah, okay.
And then Derek Hagen, who was a actor and also helped create the whole universe that we had, and so we became this like well-oiled machine that knew what we were doing, and we knew each other's sensibilities. And it just seemed like the logical next step was to make a movie. And we had done enough content for YouTube that we were like, well, I think we get it. I think we know what we're doing here. Yeah. So
I mean, your stuff was always high quality content for the web series and stuff too. I don't know why when you say shoot guerrilla, all I can think is about when me and Ashley would shoot vines in CVS, and we're like, we're guerrilla shooting. Right. we're on the quick. We need the 7 seconds now.
This is so. I'm going to tell a very funny, very relevant story of how well trained guerrilla filmers we became. Yeah. And so just recently. Our movie is with Shoreline Entertainment, was the company, the production house that helped us get it, on Amazon. And so we've maintained a really good friendship with Morris Ruskin from Shoreline. And he even played our dad in the movie. He's just an executive, he's like a big time executive producer, not an actor.
Yeah.
But we asked him to do this thing and he was like, are you sure? And he ended up being in the film. So just recently our movie was being released in Denmark and Switzerland, I think, and the company releasing it was like, we'd love to have a like an introduction to the movie for our channel. We want it, and we'd love it if the crew could come out. So Morris calls us up, and this is literally like a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow!
And so we all get together with our masks, but we go to this park, and we're standing there and. Clayton's got his camera all set up on a tripod. We have the lavalier mics on. We're going to be doing this little introduction thing. And right as we're going in this park, this guy rides on a horseback in plain clothes, mind you.
Okay.
Plain clothes, but he's on a horseback and he's got a hat on. And he turns sideways and he goes, well, hey, this looks like a pretty official thing right here. And without missing a beat, without even batting an eye, or hesitating. All three of us had this auto response of one went, oh, we wish. No, it's actually, we're filming, it's for his wife for Christmas. And we all automatically had these responses to this guy to get out of any kind of filming trouble for filming in a park without any permits or anything like that.
Gosh.
And the guy rides on and we all looked at each other and we all went, totally a cop. Like that guy on horseback was 100% a cop, because no regular guy going by is going to ask that question. And cops always go, oh, this looks pretty official. And as long as, this is a little insider tip for your guerrilla filmmakers, as long as it's something like a birthday video, an engagement video, or something that it's not professional.
Right.
And so we just, all three of us are so used to being like no, officer, not at all.
Right.
And he rode on and we finished our thing and so we broke the law. So whatever.
I love the idea of an off-duty cop who still rides the horse around.
Right? like for sure. And an off-duty cop that's still like, here he is enjoying his day in the park, riding around on a weekend. And he still feels the need because I guaranteed this was a cop. It had to have been. Just
like he never got a cop car though. He's always had the horse, and he's like, this is just my way around on the weekends.
The law is with him always, for sure.
That's
so
hilarious.
So that was an example of how when you do guerrilla, even when you're in a CVS and you're filming Vines with Ashley, the moment you get stopped by a cop, as long as you know how to frame it in such a way that it doesn't sound professional, then they'll leave you alone. So
yeah,
Hollywood tip, right?
Hollywood tip, guys. You heard it here.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Lie.
Just you guys had like some interesting some of your first big recognition was from overseas, right? Like
yeah.
What was that first film festival you guys did?
We went into Madrid, Spain. So that was
the first big one?
That was our first big one. That was our world premiere. It was called the Nocturna Film Festival in Madrid, Spain. And so I had never left the United States. I mean, I'd been to Mexico and I'd been to Canada, but I had never like been overseas. And so this was the first time for me, but we got to go to Spain and got to spend a week, and we got to promote the film, and it was an experience.
That's awesome.
That was really cool. And then we went on to Germany, and it played through all of Germany. It was like in every city, but we went to a couple of the screenings and got to meet and greet people. And Right Said Fred, which, I mean, if you're an old man like me, you'll remember Right Said Fred was they had the song I'm Too Sexy back in the days, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
They provided music for our soundtrack, and they're still, writing great songs and putting out stuff, and they're really big in Europe. And so we went to Germany, and we got to hang out with Right Said Fred, and we went out and had beers with him one night. And
that's amazing.
And it was so cool because we showed up to one of the screenings, and people are just crowded outside. They're so excited. And you're like, oh, they're so excited to see. Oh, they're here for Right Said Fred, aren't they? They're totally here for Right Said Fred.
These are the people that are like, I'm too sexy for
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Was that like the theme song for the week?
Actually, I didn't bring it up once because I thought that's probably the last thing that they ever, that's like their hit song. But I think that they're always being said like, oh, that's the only song they ever did. Whereas they went on and they had a career, maybe not as well known in the United States, but I didn't even bring up the I'm Too Sexy song.
I feel like, but just between like me and the rest of the crew and my friends traveling, like that would have been on before every night out. Mm-hmm. Like that's the party jam for the week.
Absolutely. Just play it in the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then have you been to other festivals since then?
We did Madrid, we did Germany, and then there was a festival that was in the town where we filmed it. I didn't get to go to that one. It was just at a time of year that I wasn't able to go. And then after that, it had distribution on Amazon. Like I think we first went live on Amazon in 2017, I think. Okay. And so then you're done with the film festival circuit. And
right. That makes sense.
There's always been a want. We have 2 other stories that continue on in the Harker universe that we have always wanted to make. It's just, it really took many years of our lives. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And while it is got a lot of people who watch it in the low budget B movie horror silly group, it's not a huge enough of a film that we could be like, yeah, we can make whatever we want now.
Yeah. I mean, and you got budget and time and all of that.
Budget and time. My kids are getting older. All of us are dads. Everybody in the whole team are dads. And so, it's one thing to go for these little windows of time and, have that lifestyle. But then eventually you have to, when it matters, when the kids are, paying attention to their dads being home, it's kind of important to not take off all the time.
Totally. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
My dog looks at me when I leave for too long.
Totally. You get it.
Same thing. Same thing. But with that, like you've gone on to make some other stuff. Another thing I thought was super fascinating and super unique in the approach and smart as well, was the Intermission project you did.
Yes.
Which was shot entirely on an iPhone 8 when iPhone 8 was the phone at the time.
Yeah, it was like pretty brand new when I did it. Yeah.
But it was awesome because then it got recognition for being shot on an iPhone, which a lot of people don't give these phones enough credit. Like we've shot tons of sketches on it and stuff like that. And there's been commercial work shot on it and movies shot on it. So I think it was super cool that you took a small crew out there and into the middle of the desert. And basically shot this short, which is a great little story and everything, all on an iPhone. And then you end up getting some decent recognition off of that. Which was pretty cool.
It was amazing. Thank you. It was something, it was a story that came in my mind, and I just was like, I could pitch this to the team. And I could see but I was like, I don't have any money to pay anybody. And then also, we had gotten to be a really, a good team of funny content, but this was something that kind of came from the heart. And I was a little fearful of it if I brought it to the Good Cops team, that they would have notes or feedback or things that they wanted to change about it. So I was like, I got to do this on my own, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing with equipment, with film equipment. You sit there and you think, you go, well, I could rent a camera, or then I could see if I could have somebody come be a DP on it. But then you're talking about paying and whatnot. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking down at my iPhone 8 and I'm like, this thing shoots like 4K. Like, there's no reason why I can't go out and film something with this. And then you learn about apps like Filmmaker Pro, which really help with like how you can set the shot and focus. And then I got one of those gimbals where you can put your camera on it so it looks like a steady cam. And
I have one of these. It won't stop spinning. I put it on and I'm like, well, that's broken. Unless I need a 360 establishing shot.
Right.
I used it in post.
I used mine for about a year straight, and then the mechanics on it did start to kind of go after some time. So it came together in a way that I went out, I filmed it on my phone, and then California is a cool place to live for using scenery that is like a star of the short. It's on its own. Like, people who saw it were like, where did you go? And I'm like, 2.5 hours inland, there is a place that looks like an alien planet, and it's insane. And none of that is green screen, and none of that is fake, and none of, and so once I had the access to that place and went out and shot it, it was a cool thing for me to be able to write, direct, and film an idea from start to finish solely on my own. I had never done that in my life. I'd always relied upon a team. And so I kind of had to do it. It was like, now's the time. I got to try to do it. And since that time, I did one other little short one that was, more fun. And then I've been
the one in the woods, right?
Yeah, the one in the woods. Yeah, the fire.
And then you sent your phone up on a drone. And
this
guy's phone is going everywhere.
This guy's phone is going everywhere.
Man.
Yeah, but since that time, I have another idea for a short that I've been marinating on during this quarantine, and I think I'm hoping that at the start of 2021 I can pull this one off. So we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll
Very
see.
Cool. Yeah, always working on something. But I mean, you're super innovative, and the quality of work is impressive.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, but it's always fun. Always fun to see what you got coming up.
I appreciate that.
I mean, so how long were you out in the desert then?
2 days.
That's it? 2 days?
2 days. It was.
What are we doing, people?
Get
your shorts done.
2 days, and it was my cousin and well-known musician John Walker who came with me, and Jason Adams. Those were the two fellas that I snagged, and I just said, we're going camping. We're going out in the desert, and we picked up on a Friday night. We got out there. We filmed all day on Saturday, and then finished up on Sunday, and that was it. And then we were back home. Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, if you really use your resources, you can get a lot of cool shots within a few hours drive.
Yeah.
I really go 4 hours east and get all my French Parisian shots right in Vegas, right down by I use that Eiffel Tower. And
Totally. It's amazing. You can really convince people.
No. I bet that place is empty right now. I wonder if people
I've heard both. I've heard stories of people going and being like, wow, it was kind of a ghost town, or then people going and being like, it's shocking how many people are still going to Vegas.
Yeah.
So
were you ever a big Vegas guy?
Yeah, only if I do it just right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can mess up Vegas pretty bad. And I did that a couple times in my 20s. where you just don't know that Vegas is going to win every time. This is about gambling in particular.
Yeah.
But in my younger years, and you lose a little bit of money, and you have that thought hit your brain that goes, "I can win it back."
Yeah.
Once you start thinking like that, your life is over, buddy. You're done. You're done. But if you can go and you can say, "I'm going to go, and I have this amount of money, a couple $100, and if I lose it all, it doesn't matter."
Right.
And you stay in a really great place, then that's a wonderful Vegas trip. But after a night or two, I'm ready to get out of there. That the sounds, the constant stimulation, like after a couple days, you're like, let's go.
I think like 2-3 days tops is like all you need.
That's all you need.
I won big gambling one time.
Really?
I won, like, normally I just put down like $20-$40 and I lose it and I'm done. This time I won $135 and paid for my hotel, and I was like, whoa. I fold, and they're like, that's not how this works.
Big winner. They're like, the penthouse suite, Mr. Hansinger, follow me right this way.
I think I hit like $150 and I lost a couple hands, and I was like, this pays for my hotel. I'm out. I'm out. And that was winning to me. I'm not.
That is winning to me too. Totally. Yeah. Actually, I feel the same way. Is that if you can play for a couple hours and you don't lose a lot of money, or you win just a 20 here, 40 here, or something like that.
Yeah.
Success for me.
Yeah.
I think I'm never going to be one of those guys who's like, so I'm going to Vegas. I'm spending $10,000, and it's like,
right. No
thanks.
Yeah.
No.
I always I enjoy Vegas when I can go. I haven't been in years. And won't go back like
it's going to be a while.
It was a young man's game. I feel like you say that, and there's tons of old people there. But I figured it out, like a awesome game plan where I'd go, and there was one place that had like those frozen like grenade type drinks, like like the foot-long hurricane.
Yeah,
and I was like, I can go spend $20 on this. That'll be it for the night.
That's all you need for the night.
All you need. And you'll be like surfing down escalators, and like
it'll be perfect.
And like I found like the best budget way to do it, and I was like super happy about it. But it's a fun, interesting place. But I haven't been, and I don't think I'll go back in the same way that I used to. But it was a good time.
Changed.
I like that place.
Good times.
Yeah. Well, anything else going on your way? I know you said you got some stuff you're marinating on. Obviously, shows aren't happening right now.
Yeah.
Have you been doing stand-up like prior to this, or I know you've with a lot of different things. So
it's interesting because this conversation over the past 6-9 months of this time has come up so many times with other people that I befriended, like you, in stand-up, about the state of it, what's next, like where does it leave us? And I still see posts from people all the time that are traveling and doing shows or doing Zoom shows, and I had already taken kind of a step back from it the year prior by just starting the new job. I had it's interesting because it got harder to do. It got harder and harder to do as my children got older, and once I accepted this job and this position, I found myself just not having the same level of drive and ambition to get out night after night after night. And I would still be thankful when, a friend would say, hey, I'm putting together a show. Would you like to come by and do some time? Absolutely. I love stand-up and I love telling jokes for a crowd, but it just got difficult to do I'm going to go out from, 6 p.m. until midnight and just hit mics and drop by shows. And it just got very difficult to do. So I had stepped back from it. And then now, the state that things are in now, I don't know how comedy is going to return in my life in the future. I really don't know, but I know it'll always be something that I enjoy doing, but will I have the drive to, road dog it and, get out there and just try to hit the mics? It's like, I don't think so.
And it's tough when you're doing like multiple different outlets too, when you're producing content and trying to be on stage and now doing a podcast and things like that. It becomes hard. A lot. And sometimes those other outlets do take over and give you the same joy or similar joy as being on stage. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a lot to juggle, but that's a grind. It's such a grind.
It is. It's hard. And I feel like, you know, maybe some nights I got a little carried away and stayed out late and burnt myself out and got myself into the ground with the being at clubs until 1, 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
But then there for the last few years, it was more about being part of the community and getting to having those relationships and those friends and knowing that there were shows that you could go by and you could be there and you could stop by into this place and get some time. And I loved that. But it is, once you fill your time creating other things, it's a good point that one of them is going to not get as much attention anymore.
Yeah.
And that just happens. So
I get it, man. I get it.
You get it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard.
It's hard. But yeah. Well, cool, man. This has been a lot of fun. I think we're hitting that time where, is there anything else? I mean, obviously it's not, we've plugged so much for you.
I know. I'm really grateful.
But I want people to see your stuff. And you are like, one of the reasons I wanted you on is because you're such a great creator. And I hope this inspires other people to think outside the box sometimes. And because sometimes those projects and creating your own projects seem so daunting. But it's nice to hear other people doing it and see other people doing it and finding out how they went about doing it. So I'm glad that we were able to come on and hear your stories and stuff like that. But I'll definitely link those up. Definitely check out all of the stuff. House Harker, the Biofriendly Podcast, very funny. Definitely check that out. And then of course, Good Cops, Tumbleweed, Intermission. I could go on.
All of them. Yeah. Absolutely.
But, and then just follow at Jacob Givens for future posts and updates and things like that. Well, cool. Thank you very much, Jacob.
Yes, thank you for having me on.
Great to hang with you again.
So good to see you. I cannot wait to see you and Ashley in person again someday soon. That'll be so great. And, I'm really, really glad to have you guys back in the city and love the stuff that you make and the skits and the short videos and the comedy that you guys are putting out all the time. It always makes me smile to see you guys too. So,
hey, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, buddy. Well,
thanks for having me on your podcast. I feel very honored. And
thank you for coming. Thanks for tuning in to A Bit Unraveled. I'm Ryan Hansinger. We'll see you next week.